that, let's welcome an adjunct professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Dan, good morning. I mean, this is a very important story. So while the timing remains fluid, sources are saying the decision could come as early as next week. So the fate of U.S. Steel has been a focal point for many this election, especially for workers in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, who would be the most affected by this merger. A lot of them are saying that these headquarters and factories of the U.S. Steel, they would completely shut down if this merger does not happen. Again, Pennsylvania is a swing state. Dan, is the president actually considering blocking this deal, or do you think it's just a publicity stunt to help Kamala before the election?
Well, it's hard to say, but certainly the optics will look very, very bad if U.S. Steel is sold to a Japanese company. So there's no question about that. Now, there's another side to this, because if this gets blocked, does this send the message out to the rest of the world that we are no longer encouraging foreign investment in our companies? So where do you draw the line? So is this political? Absolutely, because Pennsylvania is a swing state. It's highly contested, but there's also a lot at stake economically, as you said. If they end up shutting down the company, moving the company, loss of jobs, huge economic impact.
Yeah, there are, like you said, there are two sides. There's, of course, we want U.S.-owned companies. But again, this Japanese merger is a lifeline for a lot of these workers in Pennsylvania. There was a rally, I believe, yesterday or sometime this week in Pittsburgh over this. Okay, so U.S. job openings falling to their lowest level since January of 2021. After July only saw 7.6 million new postings, short of that expected 8.1 million. So, Dan, the Fed is anticipated to cut interest rates next month. We've been talking about this. How do you see this report affecting that decision, if it does at all?
The Fed has been very data-driven. So if you're looking at all the data, you see a weakening economy overall. Everywhere you look, the numbers are going in a bad direction. So I do think the Fed is going to react. There is going to be an interest rate cut. Is it going to be a quarter, or are they going to go all the way to a half this first round? I would predict a quarter. On the other side of this, I think there will be more cuts, at least through the election and maybe thereafter.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so how about this? Molson Coors, following in the footsteps of Lowe's and Tractor Supply, and completely removing their diversity goals and inclusivity training. Okay, so we've seen a growing number of companies join the exodus following the immense backlash, obviously, that we saw of Bud Light. However, we've seen companies like Disney, Home Depot really doubling down on their DEI. Which way do you see more companies going at this point, doubling down on DEI or running away from it?
I think most companies are going to run away from it. And when you think about this, Alex, why aren't we just moving towards the most qualified people get the jobs? End of story. I mean, when you look at what happened with affirmative action in the Supreme Court case with colleges, that sent a very clear signal. You may have the best intentions for an outcome, but when the government or you have companies trying to force an outcome that's just not there, it doesn't work. Not to mention how consumers will react. We saw it with Bud Light, which was a complete disaster. And I don't know if any company that's thinking straight wants to go down that path. But the consumers are going to decide here, Alex.
Yeah, what a novel idea. Hire the best person for the job. And then you talk about colleges. Yeah, a lot of colleges, like recently MIT came out with their demographics of their upcoming class. And it's very interesting to see when you take race out of the application process, just the breakdown of the demographics of these schools. Okay, so finally, DirecTV is offering a $20 credit to customers. This as the company just continues to black out Disney, ABC, ESPN. So DirecTV has been feuding with Disney over control of its station, shutting down the company's broadcast in the middle of the U.S. Open and during the first weekend of college football. So all those people who own DirecTV missed out on the USC-LSU game. Do you think customers will consider that $20 credit a fair compensation?
Absolutely not. This is an insult. Listen, given inflation, how far does $20 go right now? And not to mention, for me, college football fan, if you're taking off my college games, there isn't enough money to compensate for what I lost there. So I don't think people are going to be happy about it. And DirecTV may end up seeing a whole bunch of consumers going elsewhere if they're going to continue to miss their favorite events.
I have to completely agree. People wait all year for college football. Those DirecTV fans, they're not going to accept that $20. Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Such a pleasure having you on.
Thanks.